Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, March 9th, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The Prime Minister is not resigning or paving the way for a provisional government, inciting the Democratic Party, together with its allies, to declare they will not register with the Central Election Commission for the June 18th parliamentary elections, unless its request to establish a provisional government is realized. The decision was made yesterday during a meeting of the opposition's coalition and allies, who are all determined to follow their cause to the end. One opposition party, the Agrarian Party, had previously registered with the Central Election Commission for the June 18th elections, but today its chairman declared that he will ask to be removed from the Central Election Commission. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Republican Party said that the opposition will not enter the race with a government he says is preparing to manipulate the elections. Based on the Electoral Code, April 10th is the last deadline for political parties to register with the Central Election Commission in order to participate in the June 18th parliamentary elections. The opposition's protest is on its 20th day, and former Prime Minister Berisha spoke at the protesters' tent, declaring that the democratic revolution will stop when the opposition fulfills its objective. During his speech before the protesters, the former Prime Minister spoke against the current Prime Minister and called on citizens to rise up in a war for the rights he feels are violated by the majority. Men and women at the Tent of Freedom are a big inspiration. You structured the democratic revolution, which will not stop until the aim is realized, when the free vote for Albanian citizens is ensured. I want to tell Edi Rama that this is only the beginning. You are hopeless. This is a big mission. Of course, we have our difficulties. There is pressure, not only from Albanian mafia, but also from foreign mafia who support drugs, crime, and marijuana. Still, we are very strong. We are men and women who do not abandon the war. We will continue with our battle until we win. No one can defeat us in our mission, declared the former Prime Minister, adding that the opposition and the citizens are determined for free elections. According to Mr. Berisha, the Prime Minister is connected to crime and that the only solution for the country's future is the removal of Edi Rama as Prime Minister. The former Socialist Party MP Blushi accused the majority today of making an unconstitutional decision by postponing the deadline to apply for the vetting bodies. According to the chairman of the newly formed Libra Party, the decision was made to appoint judges the majority wants. You did not like the candidates who were qualified in the first process. The judicial reform has begun with an injustice. You have made an injustice to the whole process. Parliament has no right to make a decision that is not within its competence. The Constitution says that 3 days after receiving the list of candidates who meets the criteria and after receiving recommendations from the International Monitoring Operation, Parliament should create the ad hoc commission. According to this article, Parliament has no right to extend the deadline. You are completely unprepared. This absurd decision has further blocked the vetting, declared MP Blushi. The Socialist MP Bala responded to MP Blusha, explaining that the decision was made based on the Code of Administrative Procedures, based in the Constitution, and on the vetting law. MP Bala highlighted that Mr. Blushi is attacking the majority for political purposes. We have a deadline of 300 days for when the constitutional amendments enter into power. We called the plenary session to initiate the process, declared MP Bala. At the end of the session, Parliament voted on Kosovo's resolution to free Ramosh Haradinaj, the former Prime Minister of Kosovo, and decided to postpone the deadline for the ad hoc commission on electoral reform by 1 month. The opposition has boycotted the commission for 3 months. The chairman of the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity held a meeting with his party's structures in Elbasan, where he invited the political parties to sit and discuss the judicial reform and to start implementing it as soon as possible. All political parties should gather and make a decision for the present and the future of this country. There is a need for a national pact with only 2 points: the judicial reform and the country's integration. A pact that none of the parties can take hostage. We are asking for a path to solve the impasse the country is in, and this path should be found for the country's sake, declared the PJIU chairman, who also emphasized that the justice system needs a reformation and that the internationals are highlighting this every day. According to the PJIU chairman, a guarantee is needed so that the justice system is no longer manipulated. The President of the Republic, Nishani, was in Gjirokaster today to meet with professors and students of Gjirokaster University, where he highlighted the corruption phenomenon. The president declared that Albania has many resources for economic development, which he says are not being used because of bureaucracies and corruption. During his visit to Gjirokaster, the president awarded 8 dignitaries in a sign of gratitude for their efforts and contributions in various fields. The Minister of Interior, Samir Tahiri, announced today that the government has decided to increase salaries for police officers. In his announcement, he said, "Police officers were abandoned before. We evaluated the sacrifice of our police officers, and now salary increases are up 50% for police officers who work in the field. There will be salary increases for 11,000 officers starting March 1st, and services offered to citizens should increase. Let's move forward. There is still so much to be done. It is very important that the support we have given be transformed into more work, into more services, into more responsibility. It is very important that the citizens feel safer having police protection," declared the minister, disclosing a further decision for funds that will come to the police officers' aid, saying, "Also, the government has adopted a very important decision to help police officers who have any consequence from confronting the fight against crime. The government will take on the responsibility to compensate a police officer whose house was destroyed because they performed their duty. The government will be by the police officer's side," added the Minister of Interior. Gynecologists have expressed a growing concern over the considerably high number of pregnant women who abort with pills outside the range of time plans for pill abortions. The doctors say that aborting in this way, women are risking their lives, and in many cases they have ended up in hospitals. An Aura News journalist made an observation in different pharmacies throughout the capital and was able to be sold to the abortion pills without a prescription. Croatia, our neighboring country, is currently discussing whether abortions should be allowed or banned by law, and in Albania, the process is normal, though often risking the pregnant woman's life. The Aura News journalist went to a pharmacy near the maternity hospital asking about abortion pills and found that she could buy them without a doctor's recommendation. The journalist pretended to be pregnant and told the pharmacist that she wanted to abort. The pharmacist told the journalist that a woman can use the abortion pills up until week 9 of pregnancy. When the journalist asked if a doctor's prescription was needed, the pharmacist replied, "Usually the doctor gives the prescription, but you can get it without a problem." Meanwhile, the doctors say that abortions with the pill are only allowed under doctor's supervision and only until the 6th week of their pregnancy. After week 6, an abortion can be performed in a maternity hospital. According to official statistics, 156 abortions are registered in maternity hospitals, but the number of undeclared abortions is thought to be higher. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.